That was the moment that pushed me over the edge to make this video. There are...
I just imagine this dude in like a dark room with like a fucking like a flickering light bulb, and it's just like, this fucking Wendigoon guy, he followed me on Twitter. This fucking guy, I cannot believe he's mocking me. He must be mocking me. There's bugs in my skin. There's bugs in my skin. There's bugs in my like.
Where someone made a YouTuber gay sex alignment chart and put Wendigoon as a sub bottom.
Okay.
He responded to them and said, "What did I do to hurt you?" Which...
It's a joke! Oh my god!
He just likes spooky stories, which is fine. So do I, obviously.
No, it's not, because you're saying this video is literally made to say Wendigoon doesn't belong in the horror genre. So no, it's not fine. You're literally arguing against it, you fucking dumb fuck.
Most of this area used to be Sundown towns. It is about as white as you could possibly get.
Okay.
Deep Appalachia is very white country, and for the most part, is exceptionally racist. Genuinely, in this
because
part of the
it's
country,
white?
you have to assume that any white person you meet is racist unless they should not be welcomed in our spaces. Or even, you know,
in our spaces. I love this entitlement. I love this fucking entitlement these fucking lefties have, where it's just like, oh, this is my community and I dictate who comes in and who goes out. Like, fuck off. Like, I know Wendigoon's out here saying like, no, don't spread hate, don't. I'm not saying this on behalf of Wendigoon. I'm saying this on behalf of myself. As I'm saying that someone who this guy literally weaponized multiple of my identities to try and attack this dude. Fuck you. Get chased off the internet. I hate this. I hate this shit. All right, thank you.
If you're not aware, Wendigoon is a horror conspiracy theorist YouTuber with several million subscribers that, as you will hopefully come to see, should not be seen as the wholesome, southern-friendly dad persona that he has publicly constructed around himself in the past several years. And that, like many people who talk about being Christians as much as he does, has a dark past with...
He only mentions it when it's relevant. Like, what? Like... I remember like watching his like conspiracy theory iceberg, and even when Christian stuff came up, he never mentioned that he was a Christian. Like I was fairly surprised when I found out that he was a Christian. I was like, oh, okay. Like he doesn't mention it a lot. Like I feel like this guy, he never actually watched any of Wendigoon's content or actually understands his community whatsoever. I feel like he just got this impression from like other bread tubers who told him how to think. Well, he immediately starts poisoning the well. Yeah. Well, I mean, no, yeah. He has to immediately poison the well because there's literally nothing to complain about with Wendigoon. Like Wendigoon's criticisms. I mean, I had this one criticism of Wendigoon. He did this like kind of shitty thing in the past where it was like it was after I think the Ulvale shooting. He was like conspiracy theory posting, and I was like, that's a bit cringe. But all he was insinuating was like, you know, oh, feds might be behind it because it's like a 19-year-old bought like all this ammunition. Where does a 19-year-old get that much money? It's like, well, you could work when you're 16, right? Like, you know, like he was kind of conspiracy posting it. I thought that was cringe, but that's not the worst fucking thing in the world. Like that, to my knowledge, that is the worst thing Wendigoon has ever done. Was like the conspiracy post like after a shooting happened. Like I want to say it was like a week after it happened or some shit. Like, but yeah, like that's the only cringe thing. Not trusting feds is cool though. Yeah, but like after a shooting, like immediately trying to be like, oh, it's feds. Like, listen, all right, if there's no evidence to it, like don't, like, I don't know, it felt kind of bad taste in my opinion. 16-year-olds can get jobs, yeah, literally.
With deep ties to far-right extremism. On a base level, his work has never been of personal interest to me. We share a similar focus on topics that we like to write about.
The fact that he says that just tells me he never bothered to actually, yeah, okay, so that basically, that confirms it. It's like he never didn't do any research for any of this shit.
But our similarities basically end there. I have no need or desire to hear 5 hours of opinions on Blood Meridian from a 21-year-old millionaire who got famous around the age of 19.
Are you jealous? Does that sound like jealousy? Envy, if you will? Like he was just proving that his entire section is just deaf and mute, yeah. I heard they started making Blood Meridian movie after he made the video. Is that not true? I have no idea.
And I know that is probably the most boomer thing that I have ever said, apologies for that.
Oh my
but I
God,
say
you're
that
so
to
epic,
argue
dude.
that I really do think that there are some works that are really not intended to hit the right way until we are older. There are some works that fundamentally will not be understood by you if you are wealthy and have always been upper class your entire life.
What the fuck is it with these leftists? It's just wealth. They think wealth is just like it's like the original sin. It's like if you're wealthy, if you dare be more successful than me, you're a bad person. Like, what the fuck is this? This white boy tried to gatekeep Native Americans from his own culture. Yeah, literally. Like that shit. I thought no. So he does that. I thought someone else just did that. I thought that was some random person. Like he did that. It's been tossed around for years, though, with little progress. I think there was a leaked pitch on a section of the book by the director. Oh.
And this may all sound condescending, but that doesn't stop it.
Yeah, I figured it would be a whole lot of condescension coming from a leftist. Yeah, I was kind of already ready for that.
From being somewhat true. I don't mean that to think that you shouldn't be able to say or publish whatever you like at any point in your life. You're obviously free to do so. And I also don't want it to be seen as if I'm talking down to young people, because I'm not. Politically, they are frequently the most with it, and their voices should be heard on issues that pertain to them. They are looked down upon too often in our culture. What I'm talking about here pertains to the very act of writing itself. And with that,
oh my God,
perspective. And I don't know if you can actually really truly be a good cultural critic with a voice that has a definitive perspective without several years of genuine, independent, lived experience away from the home that you were raised in. And in his case, he became exceptionally wealthy by the time that he was 19 or 20. And so if you leave the home and immediately become famous
he got
and
lucky.
rich, without having to ever actually
Is that
truly
a crime?
struggle, can you be considered to have ever actually had lived experience at all that would qualify you
Oh
to give
my
criticism
God,
on
yes, because you, with your fucking 100,000 sub channel, career YouTuber, because you have life experience. Yeah, okay. I can't wait to be lectured to by this fucking guy.
art about the experience of average and poor people? I would argue not. And if that is the case,
I don't think Wendigoon grew up exceptionally wealthy. I think he had a why are we making, why not just ask the fucker? You're writing a segment on him. Why not interview him? Why not stupid.
Why would your perspective matter as a critic? Not to mention the fact that Wendigoon was raised in a very wealthy family, and with that comes from a wealthy perspective.
Okay, no source. We're just gonna say that.
His family at one point
everyone's just gonna assume
millions
that I'm right.
of dollars. When he said once on stream, "Would you believe me that when my dad was young, he used to be in an organized crime gang and is now a Sunday school teacher? Very wild life that guy's lived."
I need context. That sounds like a fucking joke.
He was in an organized crime gang that my grandfather ran. A lot of bad things went down. They got investigated by the FBI. My grandpa went to jail.
Why
My
not
dad
show
had
the
to
clip?
testify
This
and
literally
tried to
sounds
take
like a
up the
joke he
business.
would make.
The business fell apart, and he ended up losing millions of dollars to the state. Lost everything. Found God, became a Christian, and is now both the best man and the best Christian I've ever met. But also, I'm not even here to criticize his body of work. I think his videos are very uninteresting. But ultimately, that is secondary to what makes him worth.
Dude, I love it when people do this. I love it when fucking smarmy, fart huffy pieces of shit punch down like this. Or not even punch down. They think they're punching down. They're like, oh, my content is just so much more superior to his. His content doesn't really interest me and stuff like that. His content is actually really boring. Anyways, let me dedicate 30 minutes to fucking trying to ruin this guy's life. What a great stand-up individual.
The first of which are the very strong beliefs
no jealousy involved whatsoever,
that are in my opinion the antithesis of what horror should be about.
Someone who didn't grow up in a
there
rich
are many
family,
things that are red flags that we could talk about, from the bizarre gun ownership.
1000 fucking percent. Also, I technically grew up wealthy-ish, like slightly upper middle class, like not super crazy or anything like that, but I mean, how we started off, like, I was too young to remember it, but yeah, we were fucking poor, dude. We were living out of fucking trailers. Like, so, like, I was thankfully young enough to not remember that struggle, but my family isn't historically fucking well. We don't have any historical wealth to us whatsoever. Like, I don't get this villainizing of wealth. It just doesn't make any sense.
The flagrant use from my
like
perspective
it should be entirely
of his
irrelevant.
religion as a shield from criticism, to the belief that he at one point followed many far-right accounts on Twitter, from Kyle Rittenhouse to Parler, the social media website where the January
Kyle Rittenhouse isn't a far-right person. He's like a pretty normal, everyday conservative. Like, he hung out with the Proud Boys once, and that was after the riot, in which they saw him and be like, "Hey, you want to can we take a picture of you?" Because he was kind of like a fucking micro celeb for a moment. Like, okay.
January 6th insurrection was in part planned. People said, oh, he only followed them, but that doesn't mean that he agrees with them. But there are screenshots of tweets that may have been deleted. They clearly, in my mind, show a support to Rittenhouse. Although, since I did not take these screenshots, they do have to be taken.
I'm not even gonna argue for his innocence. It's just such a pointless fucking thing to argue with these people about how Kyle Rittenhouse. He was literally being chased in the fucking streets. These people were chasing him down. Like, and they weren't fucking. He was telling them to back off and back away. You're like, I don't know what you expect when you're chasing a guy with a fucking, like. Oh my god, it's so stupid.
Here, to me, it seems to fall in line with his
proven innocent.
beliefs.
Yeah, he literally was.
These have been widespread across the
innocent.
internet, and to my knowledge, I can find no examples of him directly saying that
pieces
these are not
fucking privileged fuckers like this think like if you're ever in that situation, you should just submit to the mob. Because the white people that are destroying black-owned businesses in the name of BLM are the good guys, and you can't shoot the good guys, okay?
Barrier is down. We can move now.
real. So he may or may not have actually followed these accounts or supported
he's right.
but I do not believe that he has ever outright said that this did not happen, so take that as you will.
They
We can talk about
would
his past
argue,
and
yeah.
supposedly
They
being
would
a founding
unironically
member
argue
in an
Destiny's
online
right-leaning.
conspiracy theory group that, according to him, snowballed out of control into being a white supremacist neo-Nazi organization called the Boogaloo Boys. His online username at the time was Boogaloo Boy, and he claims to be the first to have started using it, but that he left the group and became Wendigoon after things started to get out of hand. And this is not a conspiracy theory in itself. Shockingly, he literally has said so in writing. As you'll see, he was just like, oh geez, sorry guys, about starting a violent hate group, guys. Sorry that people got killed. I totally didn't mean to do all that. My bad. I'll do better next time. Also, it should be noted.
Did I miss so Wendigoon just called himself like a Boogaloo boy or whatever the fuck, and then when he realized like, oh wait, hold on, these guys are actually like far right radicals, he left? I'm sorry, what's the fucking problem with that? What? Yeah, I'll write a hit piece on you. Like, this guy's crazy.
That the Boogaloo Boys are known for wearing Hawaiian shirts. And guess who else always has on a
Oh
Hawaiian
my
shirt?
god, guys. Hitler drank water, and guess what? Guess what, guys? You wouldn't believe it.
Despite the fact that
You
he
wouldn't believe
publicly
it, but I have
totally
a
does not
picture of
share in their
Wendigoon
beliefs,
drinking
guys.
water.
I'm just saying that if at the very least I, in any way whatsoever, somehow accidentally, inadvertently, started a hate group, I wouldn't continue to still dress like them if it were me. It would make me look like I still believed in their cause, and that I just couldn't talk about it because people would publicly get mad at me. If I accidentally started a hate
Why not
terrorist
ask the
organization,
fucking
I wouldn't
dude?
rebrand
Why-
as a horror YouTuber the next year, and instead would try and
Yeah, he's
fight
reaching
that
fucking
ideology
hard.
as much as I could. And if I didn't do that, then it would probably be fair
Well, even
for
then,
people.
let's you know what? Fuck it. I could maybe grant that. Yeah, sure. Maybe in his past, Wendigoon was a far right person. Is he that now? Does are people incapable of changing? Like, I fucking hate people like this that are just like that are just so fucking. They were just born. I was born into the right way of thinking, and if you weren't born into the right way of thinking, and then you have a past of saying some edgy fucking raunchy or even racist shit in the past, I'm gonna hold that over your head until you fucking die. Like, shit's so stupid. There's nothing in the world that would make these people happy.
To assume
They will
that
be
I still
miserable
agreed
forever.
with their actions. At one point, he posted on his subreddit and wrote, "Someone asked me about my old Boogaloo Boy persona, so I made my response and thought I'd share it to set the record straight. Again, I hate being political, but I wanted to clear this up. Love y'all. Thanks." The statement that he included with this rant.
Yeah, they're so fucking
Alright, so
miserable.
I'll go ahead and make my official statement here, because better to come straight from me. Over 2 years ago, I was among the first to begin using the term Boogaloo.
So he didn't
Originally,
even
it was a
start it.
rendition
He didn't even start it. He was just one of the first few people. Like,
of Che Guevara's. Not that he was a good person by any means. Code word for revolution. And I have always been a proponent of freedom and liberty. I believe in the divine rights of every human, and therefore, aspects of self-independence are important to me. So I began using the word in small settings, and then decided to make a meme page using the name as no one had yet done so. To give you an idea, my name was Boogaloo Boy, and several have pointed to me as being the original and started the Hawaiian shirt thing, as I've always just worn those shirts. However, as the term became mainstream, more ideas began to come into the group. Everything from Antifa members to fascists wanted in on it, and the original idea
there you
became
fucking
muddled
go.
and broken. I always meant it as a for the people thing, yet it quickly became something else. To give you an idea, I watched the same news station call it a far leftist movement and a far right movement in the same day. It became something I didn't want
Touch
to
grass,
be a part
yeah,
of,
it's been
and
so
so
much
I
fun. This
left.
is so
I dropped the
schizo.
name, took a break, and decided to talk about things I enjoyed, like conspiracy.
this is in a video about conservative horror movies. Like, okay. You know what this gives off? Nobody in my audience probably knows because nobody was around for when I was like a lefty person, I guess. This reminds me of DJ Mule's video on fucking Xander Hall. That's what this fucking shit reminds me of. It's just this sounds like a clout grab for fucking financial reasons. Like I don't know if he actually believes any of
Under
this
the
shit.
new title, Wendigoon.
It's
It was
bad.
something I acknowledge, but am not a part of anymore for what it became. Some of my current followers and friends were with me then, but I'm not a part of that anymore. So, do you remember when armed men were arrested a few years ago for planning the kidnapping of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmire? That was the Boogaloos. Do you remember when
Oh my
white
God,
people
that must
showed up
mean
at the George
Wendigoon
Floyd
must have
protests
endorsed
and
it
caused
at some
property
point or
damage and
another.
violence in the hopes that black people would be blamed for that? That was the Boogaloos. A great deal of their members were spotted in the Capitol during the January 6th insurrection. In 2020, they killed several police officers in a drive-by shooting in Oakland, hoping that black people would be blamed
This
for
was
the
started. He was a part of it before any of this crazy shit. Like what?
violence in an attempt to create racial tension. The reason they use the word Boogaloo is in reference to a meme that says Civil War II Electric Boogaloo, obviously in reference to the 1984 film Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. Okay, so let's take a closer look at some of the phrasing of his official statement.
drama content
First off,
because it gets
I have
super,
tried and
bent out of
failed
shape,
to find
yeah.
any connection to the word Boogaloo to Che Guevara. In fact, when you Google Che Guevara Boogaloo, you just get things related to Wendigoon. When you type in Che Guevara word for revolution, you get things related to Wendigoon. Che Guevara died in 1967, and the earliest example of the word Boogaloo that I can find was in 1966, in relation to the musical style. So I would wager that that is more than likely a lie, to cover his actual intentions and sympathies that he
I mean, judging by how under researched like everything in this fucking video is, I'm taking this like with an absolute grain of
held
salt.
as a seemingly radicalized teenager. According to the Center for Strategic and International...
Also, yeah, I forgot. Wait, no, he's a teenager. Wait, he was a teenager. What? Are we really taking teenage fucking Wendigoon and ascribing all this horrible shit to like okay.
Study.
This is ridiculous. This is insane.
The word Boogaloo began to appear in online forums related to hate content on 4chan somewhere between 2010 and 2012, when, you know, Wendigoon would have been about 10 to 12 years old. Specifically, I have seen multiple times that it is believed to have been born on gun-related forums. I can find no evidence that within their organizational structure, that they have any allusion to their values starting or being connected to Che Guevara in any capacity. So claiming he was the first to start using it,
Did I
or
look it on
among the first...
Google? I mean, yeah, I could probably Google it. I mean, I don't think Che Guevara probably used. How do you fucking spell it? Che Guevara?
Guardian, we've picked
Che
up a high-gain
Guevara.
transmission. Origin point is somewhere along the coast, near the Cosmodrome.
That's Rasputin, the AI warmind.
Extremely unlikely since the term in English used before the 1960s.
So few ballet festivals, Guardian. It'd be a shame
What was the exact claim from Wendigoon? That Che Guevara said it, or just like I don't know who gives a fuck.
first is not true, and is frankly a bizarre claim to make. By the time he would have made his Boogaloo Boy username, the word would have already had a near decade of being entrenched into the deepest layers of alt-right internet radicalized
Alt-right? Dude, I'm sorry. Like, I have a distinct memory of people doing the electric Boogaloo memes, like, for everything. Like, not just, like, this is like Pepe as an alt-right fucking hate symbol. Like, that's the fucking level that we're at right now. What? A quote I like to repeat holds true. The majority of the commentary community is those with clouded eyes will see nothing but shadows. Yeah. Like, I don't get it. I don't. Okay.
extreme racism.
Extreme race, like the Boogaloo. Yeah, Boogaloo comes from 4chan. 4chan was there is more to 4chan than just pull. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
He wants to simultaneously
Oh
be
my
seen
God.
as distance from the organization, but still dresses like them on a daily basis, and fully takes responsibility in claiming that he started their movement that was already in motion at least 7 or so years before his involvement, which to me just kind of seems like he enjoys taking the credit for that.
he was a
As
fucking
historical,
child.
He already had an out that he was in middle school when it truly actually began. And if he's lying about these things, it just makes me wonder, what else is he lying about? And the difficulty in seeing the lies in between the things that are true is always the
I hate
point
the
with
fucking
these
way this
kinds of
guy
people
talks.
who say, for instance, that they do not believe in far-right hate. Well,
Who hasn't said electric? Yeah, like I don't get how that's fucking. That's the OK symbol fucking shit. That was like that's. Oh my god, this shit's cancer.
Such as wearing a distinctly coded Hawaiian shirt that would be understood
Coded.
by the initiated.
Racistly
As Jared
coded
Thompson
Hawaiian
puts it,
shirt.
who works with the Transnational
Check his
Threats
community
Project
tab.
that focuses on the evolution of digital terrorist networks.
know.
Boogaloo
What
memes
does
and
it
slang
say?
are often deployed in similar formats and using similar language to more mainstream internet discourse, creating a challenge in parsing the difference between complex inside jokes and memes that are used as a tool of Boogaloo
Child
extremism.
started the alt-right
Then
hate group
Wendigoon
and
would
you're
go on to
laughing.
say that the organization was corrupted by the left and the right equally. But I can find no evidence that the left ever tried to co-opt an
You can't even find
organization
your own dick,
that
bro.
actively desires
You're that
a
retarded,
race war
right?
in America. Just on the surface, that makes no sense. And on top of this, people who are centrist, or on the left, do not use the phrasing Antifa members. The only people who say that
I'm so confused. Is that not what they are? Are people who are representatives of Antifa? They're not called Antifa members? What? What?
are the ones that see Antifa as some sort of homogenous radical left-wing activist group, as
Because they generally are. I mean, there's literally like Antifa. There is Antifa, and then whatever fucking city or state, like Antifa. Fucking, I don't fucking know. But like, they're a far left radical fucking anarchist group. Generally anarchist. Sometimes they're communists. But there's obviously like distinct like groups that live in certain states, and they're called Antifa, whatever fucking city that they live in. Like,
opposed to a general term for anti-fascist movements. He is kind of telling us
you're fucking dead fucking wrong, moron. Antifa used to be like that way back in the fucking like 60s. Okay, way back in the 60s when fascism was, well, not when fascism was on the rise, but like when fascism was like still being like excused or whatever. Like, this shit's so stupid.
self by saying Antifa
See a
members,
private- yeah, I saw a
as if
private
they are a part of an organized political militia, like many alt-right groups are.
They try to be
such as the
organized, but they're too
Boogaloo.
fucking dumb.
And saying that there was harm and violence perpetrated on both sides.
Wasn't there literally like there was a moment in time, correct me if I'm fucking wrong, but wasn't there a moment in time where a group of Antifa people got arrested? They were showing up to like some sort of right-winged rally or something like that. Maybe like, I think it was like an NRA meeting or some fucking shit, and they had a van full of fucking guns. And they had like sawed-off shotguns and shit like that. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't that happen? Wasn't that a thing that literally happened? Like, didn't an Antifa member throw Molotovs at a fucking federal building or some fucking shit where there were kids inside of? Like, like, I'm sorry, we're gonna condemn Wendigoon for the Boogaloo boy shit, but we're gonna defend Antifa?
Is the kind of language that other fascists, like Trump, say to disorient people into not seeing far-right extremism for what it is. He makes the bizarre false claim that he invented the use of the word Boogaloo as a for-the-people kind of thing, and he doesn't believe in what that group did with his idealization of anti-government ideals, and also wants it to be very clear that he is not a political person. But to my ears, this is all conservative doublespeak. And I hope that this is becoming obvious to you as well. In my opinion, there is a regular pattern.
I'm not even gonna act like
behavior
Wendigoon
from
isn't
supporting
a conservative. He
Rittenhouse
probably
having
is, but
multiple
like to
ties
act like this
other
is like
far-right extremist figures. That I think
this
a
is
clear
worth like
picture is
destroy
painted that he does not
trying
mean
to
this as a
gut his
communist
career
kind of
like
thing,
this is like
and
is
seemingly
ridiculous.
more so means people as a very select group. Wendigoon is very publicly friends with Turkey Tom. They have been seen together on
A
multiple
Nazi, a literal
occasions,
Nazi.
and I've seen online mentions that Tom was either at his wedding or at the very least was invited. Tom has been accused of using the N-word multiple times in private conversations, including
Come
these
on.
screenshots of texts that are alleged
Oh
to
my
be real.
God.
And he's also been accused of saying
Dude.
that the
Saying the N-word makes you a Nazi. I guess Jalen is literally a Nazi. Like
upper tiers of his Patreon were intended for Jews with deep pockets. Wendigoon is publicly connected to the internet historian.
Yeah, he made
and has
some
even
fucking
appeared in his
wild-ass
videos.
edgy jokes,
The internet
yeah.
historian publicly said that his birthday was April 20th. It is not, and has only said that as a joke because that is Hitler's birthday. Wendigoon is publicly friends with Donut Operator, and even retweeted a photograph of the two of them hugging. Donut
Who wears the
Operator
wire
is
shirt
a
connects with the
gun-crazed,
balloons, yeah.
very far-right YouTuber with 4 million subscribers, whose career consists of him reviewing footage of police officers shooting and killing people. He was once a
alleged.
cop
Come back when
himself
you have
before
actual
he made more
evidence,
money
yeah,
making
proven
YouTube
evidence.
videos and retired. His content is very pro-state, pro-cop, pro-gun, and pro-death to people who don't share his beliefs propaganda. For
You know,
example,
when you say a guy is pro-death, I have to think you're just fucking grasping at straws. Like that's just like who describes a position as like this is pro-death? Like what does that fucking mean? What a nebulous term.
one of his videos is titled Predator Takes Shotgun to the Face and features a picture of him smiling in the corner of the thumbnail next to an image of a terrified man about to be executed by cops with the text that reads, head removal.
A pedophile. A pedophile. Someone who wants to rape children. If there was ever a time to be pro-death, it's probably to those people. Like,
Hi everyone, Donut here. We got a couple of shootings for you today. The
yeah,
main
literally,
shooting
who
just
cares?
warmed
It's a
my
fucking
heart.
And, you know,
pedophile. What?
For someone who supposedly is so very anti-government, Wendigoon seems very comfortable with a man who makes his living worshipping violence committed by the state. He's a man of no conviction.
He never said he was
claiming to be very
anti-government.
against the government and for the rights of the people, while at the same time giving a warm embrace to one of the biggest fascist bootlickers on the internet. And the only thing
just
that one
doesn't like
could
the
reasonably
CIA, which is
gather
like a
from this
very
picture
normal
of them hugging
stance.
is that he too is a fascist bootlicker himself. He has collaborated with Nick
like cross
Crowley,
between Infinite
who
Online and
constantly
Noah
makes
Samson,
money
yeah,
through the
literally.
most morbid and shameful true crime content, of showcasing the last minutes of people before they are suddenly and unexpectedly killed. Crowley is similar to Wendigoon, in that on the surface they seem fairly edgy, but clean enough. But then you notice that he follows less than 200 people on Twitter, and among them are the same circle with names like Wendigoon, Plagued Moth, Turkey Tom, Mr. Ballin, and Donut Operator.
Wait,
Wendigoon has collaborated
is Plagued Moth a right-winged person? the non-binary fucking gore tuber who's like well, he's a piece of shit, right? But like that guy's what?
with Plagued Moth, a completely shameful content creator who reviewed snuff films on his Patreon before it was taken down.
Yeah,
and
he's
has
a
been
piece
accused
of
of showing
this was
genuine
this
gore
this
content.
that shit was before any of that stuff was like outwardly called out. Cause I watched Plague Moth around that time too. I never knew about the Patreon gore shit. I never knew about that fucking shit until fucking whatchamacallit, until TCR called it out.
To minors on Discord, and whose main YouTube channel consists of him reviewing censored videos of horrible acts of real-life violence and death. He is publicly friends with Shoe on Head, who is a conservative.
Oh, is that
masquerading as a leftist.
is that the pro-death person that he's friends with? Oh my god, dude.
Who has built a career off of lazy anti-woke content, complaining about SJW.
She does not. What the fuck? We can literally go to Shoe Head's channel and see that this is literally not true. Like, Oh my god, dude.
who says stuff like
I don't even
Karl
watch.
Marx
I don't even.
rising from the
I'm not.
grave,
I'm not
finding
even.
out
I'm
his
not even like a Shuan Head fan. I've only seen like one of her videos, and that was the one where the whole Balenciaga drama shit. Like, but I've looked at her fucking shit. Like, she's an anti-woke, anti-SJW. That was, yeah, she was like that, like over 10 years ago. Like, she voted for Bernie Sanders. The fuck, like. This is the anti-woke youth. What?
His movement has been taken over by fat, ugly, mentally ill losers. He is friends with Brandon Buckingham, a gun YouTuber who has been accused of threatening rape. He is friends with Oompaville,
Wait,
a
spamming? No,
gun-obsessed
wait,
content
why is the
creator.
Nightbot doing that? No, I don't care about the spamming cap shit. Fuck. Is Brandon even a gun too? Literally, no, I think he's actually so profoundly retarded that he confused Brandon Buckingham for Brandon Herrera. I think he actually got those two confused. She makes anti-SJW. Does where, when, what? She made a video on female loneliness, the rise of AI girlfriends, the Twitch thought an epidemic. Is that anti-SJW? She reviewed Lady Baller. She reviewed Lady Ballers, and I most definitely called it like a shitty fucking movie. Like, are women okay? Men deserve to be lonely, responding to the backlash. Male loneliness epidemic. Barbie. The accidental anti-woke masterpiece. I mean, well, she puts it in quotes. Barbie, an accidental anti-woke master. Yeah, she put it in quotes, like quote unquote anti-woke, quote unquote, right? I mean, I'm not here. I don't think she's an anti-SJW. I don't think she is. Nothing about this gives me that impression. Like, how is she anti-woke if she voted for Bernie? Like, what about this video she made a year ago, like making fun of people who said bisexuality isn't real? What about that video? No, she makes anti-SJW stuff from, but is she anti-SJW? Because there is cringy fucking SJW shit that still exists. There is. Like this video right here, right now, the video that we're watching right now, this is SJW fucking nonsense bullshit. Like, that's what this is. This is the social justice fucking dumbass shit. Am I anti-SJW now because I don't like this video?
That has taken advantage of Nakado Avocado's mental decline for fame and for money. And on top of that, has made
Does he not know Nakado Avocado is a character? Like, does he? Okay. Very, very well researched. Very well researched
content
video.
with the human trafficker, Andrew Tate.
He did, I'm sorry, he did what?
An obsessed content creator that has taken advantage of Nakado Avocado's mental decline for fame and for money. And
That's why you're making this video, to be clear. You're making this video for fame and money. Anyways.
on top of that, has made content with the human trafficker, Andrew Tate.
He interviewed him. He did an interview. Can we not interview people anymore? Can we not interview bad people anymore?
He is friends with Mutahar, who argued against Andrew Tate being deplatformed from social media web.
To be argued against. To be clear, his stance was literally, we shouldn't deplatform Andrew Tate because his rhetoric should be challenged in the open. It needs to be openly conversated and debunked and challenged in the public. Okay.
Websites, and has recently showcased a great deal of transphobia
I fucking hate this fucking dude so much.
in his most recent video. He has publicly interacted in a friendly way with the account Rock Solid on multiple occasions, and with just a quick look at their profile.
Making an interview means you support the person you're interviewing from, or did you know? Yeah, literally, it's so stupid.
I saw them liking
Dude, no wonder he didn't interview fucking Wendigoon because he thinks Wendigoon's a Nazi. He didn't want to be a Nazi.
anti-trans posts and neo-Nazi content. He interacts
I have no idea about that Rock post. I've had a couple of their, I don't follow them, but I've had a couple of their tweets recommended to. I don't get that impression, but
positively
anyways.
with Disclose.tv, a far-right propaganda website that uses hate speech, engages in Holocaust denialism, and platforms neo-Nazis. He has appeared in content with Mr. Gunsinger,
Wait, what is
whose
he?
Twitter bio
Wait,
reads, dedicates anti-Nazi
what is
content.
this Gish Gallopet fucking bullshit? What?
He interacts positively with Disclose.tv,
Interacts positively? What is he saying?
a far-right propaganda web.
He commented a single time under a Twitter post. What? What the fuck?
Website that uses hate speech, engages in Holocaust denialism, and platforms neo-Nazis. He has appeared in content with Mr. Guns and Gear, whose Twitter bio reads, dedicated to restoring the civil rights of Americans. But despite that, he's tweeted negatively about trans people many times. He has interacted positively with...
Why are we're just zooming by like so fucking much shit. Like, oh my god. Like, I literally can't trust anything this fucking dude says.
Garand Thumb,
Garand Thumb's a piece of shit.
who has said, the traditional family should be encouraged and strengthened. I see little to no
Of all the things Garand Thumb said, this is the one that you're gonna quote? What?
support from the government or big media. He has said anti-trans statements.
He has.
He has called people degenerates, and has said that
Okay. I don't think calling people degenerates is uncalled for. I think people can be degenerate.
non-traditional sexual interactions are a disgusting, hedonistic lifestyle that is the breakdown of the family unit. Wendigoon is publicly friends with Brandon Herrera, who has made jokes that implied that he was sympathetic with
Wait, no,
public
so he knows the difference. So why the fuck did he call Buckingham a gun tuber? The fuck?
shooters who killed Leftist, and collaborated with Kyle Rittenhouse, who has posted images of himself with an MP40, which is a gun used by the Nazis.
You can never shoot an MP40 unless you're prepared to be a Nazi.
that he described as the original ghetto blaster. I've also seen people insinuate that Herrera was with Wendigoon in the days of being part of the Boogaloo movement, but I cannot find substantial proof on if this is true or not. But I've seen several comments.
Why all of a sudden we're being a a little forthcoming with that? I could not find any evidence. Anyways, let me just flash a bunch of like under-researched fucking bullshit, smearing all these people as like literal Nazis. Like, okay.
saying this. So online, it is at least culturally believed to be true. He has appeared in gun-related content with Haley Luan, an influencer whose content is based entirely around making the United States military appear fun and bizarrely sexually appealing. Which again, for someone who is supposedly anti-government, he sure does seem to have a lot of wealthy white friends who actively work to uphold the values of the American empire. Or we could talk about the time that he stole art to use in promotional material for his videos, and then blamed it on his editorial team instead of just taking the responsibility. Then, of course, there is his username.
What? Can we just give the context? Like,
To the Algonquin people, the Wendigo is a negative spiritual symbol.
oh
that is to be
my
avoided
god.
and
You know, as someone who's part native, fuck you for getting offended on behalf of me. Go fuck yourself.
whose name is to never even be said out loud or written down. So I know there's a bit of a hypocrisy there on my part, but we kind of do have to say it for academic purposes, so apologies for that.
Oh my
Starting with
God.
Algernon Blackwood's horror short story called The Wendigo. People have for hundreds of years taken the creature and used it for their own means, including Wendigoon in his very name, which is something that indigenous
Guys, you could never acknowledge the existence of other people's culture unless you're like unless you're culturally like, appropriating. Unless you're okay with culturally appropriating it. Jesus Christ.
people have been very critical with him now for years. This next thing that I'm trying to argue is not to discredit his feelings regarding to his own personal history. But what I will say is that Americans who are white or partially white in rural areas love to claim a percentage of native heritage for bizarre...
I literally am. My fucking brown grandma told me like what? Like, is it really impossible for someone to have white skin and also literally be part native? Like, what the fuck? Are we kidding?
conservative reasons relating to, like, reverence for the land and fascistic nostalgia for a time that never existed and stuff like that.
What the
He has
fuck?
attempted to deflect from criticism over the use of the name by saying that his grandfather was Native
You
American and that he learned
must
these
have a
things
boring
culturally
fucking
through.
life.
But I personally have to
There
look
must
at
be
it from
nothing
the
interesting
hypothetical
happening in your
perspective,
fucking life,
where,
dude.
say I had a black or mixed grandfather in this situation, and black people were telling me that I was doing something that was racist or offensive to them. I would then listen to what they were saying instead of claiming that I had the right to do it because I had some melanin in me. Especially if I...
You're retarded. You're fucking retarded, dude. Like, what a fucking... He's gonna call other people bootlickers, but the second a black person says, "Hey, I don't like that you're doing this. Oh, yes, okay. Gets on his fucking hands and knees and starts licking and kissing his fucking toes and shit.
were more or less raised within a primarily white
Like, no,
cultural
give me a
area
valid
like
reason,
the
dude.
Appalachian Mountains are. And also on top of that, just, frequently associated myself with white supremacists. There are 26 million people in this region,
Literal
and
white
well
supremacists.
over 80% of them are white, with the majority of the others being Latinos. And if I had no cultural connection around me to that non-white percentage of my history,
My left
then
wing,
what really would give
somewhat.
me the right to dictate whether or not what I was doing was
I'm
appropriate?
socially progressive,
I really would have
but
no ground to stand on.
economically
The other thing that I would
conservative
add to this is that Wendigoon and I are practically neighbors, and I know this area very well. Okay, so I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and between that and the reservation, you have the community of Lake Junaluska, which isn't actually even a real town. You can walk across the whole thing in a matter of minutes. You got Waynesville, you have Maggie Valley, and a few other small drive-by communities. And beyond that is the Cherokee Reservation. Wendigoon lives somewhere just on the other side of the reservation. That is not me doxing him. He has said many times publicly that he lives in East Tennessee. And I'm not even saying what town he lives in. According to the latest census,
okay.
there are only 23 black people who live in Maggie Valley. There
What does that have to fucking do with anything? What? I'm sorry, you can only be racist if you don't live in proximity with black. What is the
are
implication?
15 Native Americans despite it touching the reservation. Most of this area used to be sundown
Okay.
towns. It is about as white as you could possibly get.
Okay.
Deep Appalachia is very white country, and for the most
And?
part, is exceptionally racist. Genuinely, in this
Because
part of the
it's
country,
white?
you have to assume that any white person you meet is racist unless they show you
What?
otherwise. Almost all of these little towns are well over 90% white.
By the way, I've been to some of these fucking towns. I've been in the more coastal Appalachia, like not coastal. What the fuck am I saying? I've been to like West Virginia and fucking and shit like that. Like I've been to those Appalachian fucking states and shit. Where the fuck am I going? Okay. But no, like I never got that
But if you
impression.
were to drive through Maggie Valley,
Most
you would
people
find
just
antique
mind their
stores
own
selling
fucking
busts
business.
of
They
Native
don't-
American braves, carved wooden eagles, vintage paintings of buffalo, super racist generalizations that idealize the idea of the noble, good kind of Native American. And then you'll drive onto the reservation, and it's just run down and poor as shit except for the casino. He has said that the Wendigoon name came from his cultural connection to Native lore through his grandfather's side. But I can assure you that unless you were on the reservation itself, that actual Native
Oh
culture
my fucking god. What are you doing? we are tone policing, literally. We are literally tone policing. It's like, you don't fit the fucking skin color, bitch. Like, that doesn't change someone's ethnicity. That doesn't change someone's cultural connection to a culture. Like, who the fuck are you to question Wendigoon's cultural connection to, like, okay.
has no aspect in the general lives of the people around you, other than the racist trinkets that depict them. And as I said a moment ago,
The Wendigo is a racist
who are
thing?
nowhere close to the vicinity of the Cherokee, who are in the southern Appalachia region and throughout the lower sections of Middle America. The Algonquin people are Canadian and a little bit Northern American. To insinuate that he can use the Wendigo name by citing local cultural native customs is completely absurd to a person who lives in the same general vicinity as he does. It is obvious that he just thought Wendigos were cool and has come up with some seemingly strange backstory lie that is easily proven.
No, that's literally the reason. It's like he has a cultural connection because of he has tales from his fucking grandfather and shit, and he thinks it's cool. Both can be true. What?
Not be true, unless, his grandfather is Algonquin and just moved to Tennessee. But if that were the case, I don't know why he
Why
wouldn't
not
just come out
fucking
and say
ask
that
him?
right
This
now.
sounds like a
And the
question you
reason
should
why he
ask him if
doesn't
you're
is
gonna,
because
especially
it
if you're gonna
isn't true.
indict him based
There's
on this
a lot
fucking
of bizarre
shit.
religious-like mythologizing around his past that I particularly
This guy's a
hate.
retard. That's who
like
this
it
guy
always
is.
being said that his interest in cryptids and horror began with oral folk tales in Appalachia that are passed down and told to children. I assure you, as someone who lives near him and has for most of my life, This is total
Debatably lived. What? Okay, so since you're gonna make assumptions about Wendigo, I'm gonna make assumptions about you. You never go outside. You never socialize with anybody inside that environment. You probably lived in that whole fucking era your whole entire life and hated everyone and everything because you're so fucking woke and you don't like white people because white people are destroyers or whatever. And that's been your entire life. You never actually like all your friends have been online friends. That's your life.
bullshit.
Who the fuck are you to judge
It is
anybody?
some weird, false, cultural, imaginative idealization of the American South that is not actually true to the real Appalachia. We aren't sitting around at night talking about the goddamn Mothman and shit. I even came from a poor family, and he didn't.
What?
When I was a kid, I have seen people riding into towns on horseback. He admits to being raised by millionaires who got their money from crime. He just likes spooky stories, which is fine. So do I, obviously.
No, it's not, because you're saying this video is literally made to say Wendigoon doesn't belong in the horror genre. So no, it's not fine. You're literally arguing against it. You fucking dumb fuck. What? Okay.
But to come up with some weird folksy reason as to why he became a folklore YouTuber that somehow
Comment about
culminated
Mothman
with
is
the
bullshit.
destiny
Yeah,
of
it's like
local oral
if
tradition
you're
is the
friends
kind
with a bunch of
language
people
that
who
is
like
used by
cryptid shit, you're
members of
probably
the
gonna
cult
talk
of
about
personality.
Mothman.
They might as well claim that he was born on a fucking mountaintop. Nobody talks about it. But don't you think it is extremely weird and off-putting that all of his fans call him Dad? Isn't that really strange? What follows is an exchange between
It's a
two
joke.
anonymous
It's a fucking joke, dude. What? This whole entire video is a fan fiction.
indigenous people
Oh my
about how
god.
they feel about him and his behaviors. I've been watching a YouTuber named Wendigoon for a long time, and I noticed that his username always made me feel weird. He often uses Wendigo imagery in his merch,
Okay.
and made it a part of his brand. He says that his grandfather
he likes
is
the
Cherokee
folklore?
and taught him the legend, and I'm not going to make assumptions on if he is lying or not. But I feel really weird still. It feels really disrespectful to me to use that name. I'm not sure if I'm being
Okay,
baby
who
about it
asked?
or if there's something
Who
wrong
asked?
with
Why
it.
does your
He has
opinion
also
matter
said
more than
some
anybody
shit
else's?
about cultural appropriation.
I,
that
as
put
someone
up some
who's
serious
literally
red
part
flags
native,
for me.
could care fucking
The
less.
Wendigo comes from the Algonquin people. I don't think Cherokees come from that group. Plus, he's presenting the white people concept of a Wendigo. You can call him out, but he has 3.5 million subs. His community will probably hunt you down before you ever get him to shut down. What follows is the comment that they were referring to.
Rightfully so. When you're trying to smear the guy as a fucking Nazi and trying to destroy his fucking career on YouTube, yeah, fuck you. You deserve to be hunted down, okay? Now, Wendigoon says, don't do that, but honestly, you should. Honestly, fuckers like this should be chased off the fucking internet. Fuck this dude.
About cultural appropriation, where a native person called out Wendigoon for his use of their spiritual symbol, to which he said to them, I'm actually going to make a video on
One
this in order to make
Native
a direct
American person
response, but for
doesn't
now,
like it. Damn.
Cultural appropriation is a good way to alienate
Dude.
one group.
Native Americans are a monolith, okay? When one Native American says a thing, that means that you need to obey, okay? That means that all Native Americans think the same, and if one says one thing, that means all Native Americans must think the same way.
Group of people from the other.
You're so right,
Whenever
bro.
a society makes advancements in art and literature, and then another society
Literally
gatekeeps
racist
others
mixed with
from
natives.
interacting with it, it makes
I met
the
a man.
creators seem inhuman and
He's
odd.
half Caucasian,
The
half
easiest
native.
way to
That's
create
that's
prejudice is to
kind of
convince
what
others
I
that a
am.
group
I'm also
of people
part
should not
Hispanic,
be
too.
interacted with.
I'm
I
a
have
mutt
spoken
of,
to
like,
several
all
natives
kinds of
who
fucking
love the
different shit.
concept, yet only those who have no value in its existence say I shouldn't talk about it, inciting an indoctrinated superiority. Furthermore, when we stop talking about cultures, they die. This is
Literally,
especially
yes.
applicable to Native Americans, who use spoken word to pass down their stories. And if we do not continue to speak their stories, their culture dies before we do.
Like
Lastly,
every time when Wendigoon is it's not like Wendigoon when he talks about these folklore stuff that he does it like, oh guys, isn't this spooky and scary? Like he takes it pretty seriously. He actually takes the stories pretty seriously, and he tells them how they're told by their people. Right? He doesn't. He's not like how you see some true crime YouTubers that are like where they're like they sometimes often like glorify the violence that happens. Wendigoon treats it really fucking respectfully. You know, I don't.
I was raised in Appalachia, and my entire life has been filled with stories of the mountains and creatures that lurk in the dark. My culture is as American as any, and I recognize the importance in keeping the fire alive. I in
Wait,
no
why
way
are you
mean
laughing?
this
What
to
is funny?
attack
I don't-
or to be
okay.
direct. Just a simple reply. If we develop the idea that we
I don't
can't
get what is
speak of
funny about
certain
that.
people, then we're no better than those who silence them. He's basically using the "I have a few black friends" excuse to tell indigenous people.
No,
to
he's
fuck off.
not. He literally is not. He's saying, dude, these people's culture depends on everybody talking about their folklore and stuff like that. If we don't talk about it, if nobody but Native Americans are allowed to talk about Native American culture, then it would be gone. It would be dead. Okay?
And to not bother, so that he can continue without
Any,
criticism
crime
to make a
YouTubers,
lot of money by selling
that talk with
plushies of a
respect,
monster that was invented by a white British man.
I don't know off the top of my head, but there's these people called Iwu Explore with us. I mean, they're very like matter of fact at their presentation of cases.
That is ultimately making fun of their culture, as well as plastic
Random ways
figurines,
to repeat the same
posters,
thing, yeah.
shirts, and other merchandise that depicts Wendigos. I don't know if he fully realizes the irony of being a rich and famous person taking a symbolic figure from a smaller native group of people that he is not connected to in any way, that is at least in part to them originally used as a metaphor for colonialism. The reason that this comment is publicly still available is because Wendigoon archived it by posting a screenshot of it early in his channel's life to his Reddit page, as a clarification of his official position on why he should be able to use the name, saying, "Hey everyone, so I hate getting political, but this keeps coming up. I'm showing this comment reply now, so my opinions can be made known going forward. I've also blocked out the original commenter, and please do not show hate if you see it on the video. Also, I'm at 50k. I love you all so much. Also, I have received comments from natives who advise me not to use the term Wendigo, as it is a bad omen and is dangerous. That is entirely different from not talking about a group of people altogether. They genuinely believe the legend and want me to be safe. They're cool. Thumbs up emoji."
Yeah, like he doesn't even say it's Wendigoon. Okay, you're not invoking the name. You're not literally saying like, okay.
It has become a more common thing for people to call him out on his beliefs, his behaviors, and at the continued use of the Wendigo in his name and the merchandise that he makes a lot of money off of. It became so much of a conversation that he even put out a statement trying to shut this down, saying, "Some rude and slanderous things have been said about my character, and I just want to clarify that I am not right-wing or bigoted or anything besides thankful for my opportunity to make goofy YouTube. The only thing I believe in is loving God and my wife." Donut operator. You know, the ex-cop who makes death content. The Wendigoon shared a picture of the two of them hugging not long after this. Can be found in the comments of this post asking if Wendigoon wants him to start killing people who said that he was right-wing. I think that this is an all-time bad public statement.
It's a fucking joke. Oh my god. A known alt-writer, yeah. I modded it because like that fucking Nightbot fucking dumbass shit was like being like, it literally I don't know if you saw it, deleted all your fucking comments. I was like, what the fuck?
That says absolutely
Like, I thought I
nothing
banned you for a
substantial.
second.
And that's the point.
about to fucking
I
say.
quote tweeted this and said, "Not that I have a stake in this whatsoever, but this is such a non-statement that doesn't even address any of the issues that folks are criticizing him for. Someone using their religion as a shield in the same breath as claiming that they believe in nothing politically is a red flag. Oh, I'm just a goofy, wholesome boy. Please don't ask me why I follow less than 500 people and one of them was Kyle Rittenhouse. Don't ask me about all the guns that I post pictures of. I promise I have no strong beliefs. Apolitical, really. Why are you slandering me? I really only care about this because if you have that large of a platform and make your money from being a public persona, then you are no longer fully a private person, and your political beliefs do in fact matter and are a fair topic of debate. You can't get mad if people call you unquestionable things that are said or done if you are making money off of them." And what resulted from some good faith criticism of his use of language was days upon days of people calling me a faggot. Amongst
I mean, takes one to know one, all right? You kind of act like it, all right?
other things, but that was their go-to word. And to be honest, if you're a public figure who is being
I mean, you're literally like tone policing and finger wagging and like, yeah, like this is if there's anything that's like that word, it's what you're doing. So it's warranted. Fuck you.
And the only people who come to your defense are Nazis, then that can only be read as two ways. Either that you're sympathetic to their views, or that you're perfectly fine making money from them, and are comfortable with that ideology being the backbone of your base. And this did go on for like at least a week, where every single time I said anything, my mentions were just filled with the most vile far-right rhetoric from Wendigoon fans. And if
Can you substantiate that? Like,
anyone ever
as someone who's literally seen Wendigoon's subreddit and Wendigoon's fans in the comments of his videos, this is stupid. This is fucking dumb. Like, most of his fans are literally like queer kids that like creepypastas. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're so stupid.
criticized me, and people's reaction to it was to immediately start using hate speech, I would shut that shit down so fast. I think that most decent people who work online would do the exact same. And if they don't want to be seen as a big group of Nazis, then let's see how they react
Something
to this
happened
video's
and proceeded to
existence.
provide zero
Because I
actual
am
evidence,
certain they
yeah.
will be very level-headed about all of this.
Oh my God,
right
that's
in
my
the midst of
favorite
this
part
going
too.
on, a very funny thing happened, and that Wendigoon followed me on Twitter. I was not following him at the time. He never publicly told people to stop calling me a friend. He never once reached out to me privately, but he did follow me, which means in my eyes that he 100%
So schizo, dude.
knew what was happening, because I did tweet about it several times, and then followed me to let me know that he knew, and that he was watching, and that he intended to do nothing to stop it. Why else would he follow me in that exact moment? He has never interacted with a single one of my posts, not one like, not one comment. We are not friends. But he does follow me. He follows next to nobody on Twitter. What other motivation could he have had there to follow me in that specific?
How many people is he follows next to nobody? Let's see if that how true is that? I mean, it might be true. It might be true. Who fucking knows? He's following 486 people. Dude.
moment, other
Okay.
than to be a method of quiet and
Next to
deniable
nobody. I mean, you can literally
intimidation.
see it in the
What other way could
next to he follows next to 486 people.
that have been read from my perspective? If you think it was
Oh my
entirely
God.
coincidental, which he may argue it was, then I've got a sack of magic beans I'd like to sell to you. That was the moment that pushed me over the edge to make this video. There are
Like, I just imagine this dude in like a dark room with like a fucking like a flickering light bulb, and it's just like, this fucking Wendigoon guy, he followed me on Twitter. This fucking guy, I cannot believe he's mocking me. He must be mocking me. There's bugs in my skin. There's bugs in my skin. There's bugs in my like, Jesus Christ.
other very public instances from him
Jesus
of transphobia
Christ,
and
dude.
homophobia. Like when he allegedly said, calling Chris Chan, a man who mutilated his body with a box cutter because 4chan said he was a girl, holds a deep hatred for men and most women, decided to be a girl so that he could hook up with lesbians, and now abused his
Chris literally admitted that. They literally said that they wanted to get with lesbian women, so they became they said that. And not only that, Chris thinks they're literally Jesus Christ. So you know what? I don't respect the pronouns. I think they're schizophrenic. I think they need to go to a fucking mental hospital.
his mom. She is disrespectful to and delegitimizes trans people. Like he.
It does. It literally does. Because Chris is legitimately delusional. They are legitimately, they are literally delusional. Like, yeah. Like saying, no, guys, we need to respect this. No, put them in a fucking mental hospital. What the fuck?
A very publicly straight, married Christian cis man somehow is the authority on what legitimizes
fucking
a
nutcase,
trans
I'm not
person's
even gonna-
identity.
yeah.
He has tried to cover this up and has denied
Chris
that it
Chan is
happened,
literally
but I
not
think there's enough
trans,
evidence
like-
to say that it most likely did. One user said at one point, he's been constantly misgendering her on Twitter despite being corrected numerous times. To which
my
Wendigoon
God.
said, show me one time I misgendered her on Twitter. Actually, please don't watch my content if you're going through my
Well, okay,
reply-
no, so they in their eyes, Chris is trans. he did say he before, okay?
And monitoring followers who may just be unaware of Christian's entire lore. Perhaps people just not knowing something doesn't mean that they're a transphobe. But if we go back and look at old screenshots from this time, you can see that this account is quote tweeting Wendigoon's transphobic tweet. But if you go to that account today, that post is now quote tweeting a deleted tweet, which to me shows that more than likely Wendigoon went mask off with his transphobia and then deleted the tweet sometime afterwards when he realized
I think
that
Chris
people
is
would be
autistic.
mad about it. But there's a very small
I think they literally got diagnosed with autism.
Chance that this is not true because I did not take the original screenshot, so make of that what you will. We could talk about the time that Nick Spheres did a video about the disturbing movie Iceberg, who is a great horror trans creator, and I really hope that she's not mad at me for mentioning her here.
She 1000% is. This is a smear segment against one of the most fastest growing, biggest horror channels on YouTube. And you're lumping her in with this fucking she's absolutely mad at you.
Because I think she's very cool and you should definitely
I think she doesn't like you for literally including her in this.
Go read her books.
Okay.
But Wendigoon famously did a very popular video on that particular iceberg challenge as well. And in the comments of her video, he said, "We will be watching your career with great interest," which is just kind of gross because in a
she liked the comment. Why are we getting offended? Why are we getting offended at this? She liked the comment. Like, and I guess you're saying it's referencing something. I don't know what it's referencing, but like she hold on, what is it? What does this say? What the fuck does this say? Oh, let me. She said, "Ooh woo oh whoa," like, I don't. Call me crazy, but I don't think she's like offended by that.
the way it is similar to him following me. It is him telling her that he sees that she's doing similar.
What the fuck? Oh my god! It's so rich. It's so rich for him to sit here and get up in arms and like, how dare Wendigoon use the Native American folklore symbol of the Wendigo of the Wendigo the Wendigo? How dare he use that? How dare he take that and appropriate that for his own profit? Anyways, let me just take this trans person and just let me just take this trans person who interacted with Wendigoon and project my insecurities onto them and point to that and say, look how awful it is that he's treating this trans person like this. What? Commies are not okay. I've seen people tweeting about that. Is he actually a communist? Something destroying his point right behind him. Yeah, literally. Like what?
Content to him, and his presence in the comments is undercutting her video. While he also
how? Him commenting on her, how is it undercutting her video? People have to click on the video and it's in order to see the comments. Like, how? Okay. No, yeah, you're right, dude.
also at the same time seemingly makes it look like he supports trans people. Like in the responses to his comment, people are saying things like Wendigoon says trans rights, while meanwhile he's simultaneously tweeting about Christian multiple times. We could talk about another time where someone made a YouTuber gay sex alignment chart and put Wendigoon as a sub bottom.
Okay.
He responded to them and said, "What did I do to hurt you?" Which
it's a joke. Oh my god. This dude, no, he literally doesn't have friends. This dude literally doesn't have friends. How does he not understand? Okay. He doesn't understand the joke.
But also the worst kinds of straight guys when they make jokes related to queerness.
Okay, so you have to suck cock in order to make a self-deprecative joke. Okay. Yeah. This. Oh my god, I'm having a brain aneurysm.
Almost exclusively direct the punchline at femme gays and bottoms. because they view them as lesser than masculine.
Okay. You know, as someone who is a fucking bottom, what the fuck is this guy saying? Like, he's just getting offended on behalf of so many fucking people. Like, what the fuck is this? What is this? I don't care. As someone who's a gay bot, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not reading it like this fucking malicious thing. What?
Tops. He has multiple times said that he supports queer people, but I think his actions in private
Yeah.
clearly paint a different picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you a fucking fly on the wall?
He once tweeted, saying, "I do not care if someone is gay or straight. Sexuality is no one's business but
Yeah.
the individual. Don't make assumptions. I make an effort to stay away from politics and social issues." Which, you know, first off, equating sexuality with politics kind of already shows what you kind of think of the issue.
I'm sorry. When lawmakers are legislating against people's sexuality and gender, you don't think that's political? Dude, yeah, it can be political. Yeah, it is a social issue. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're bringing up sexuality in a conversation, it tends to be political. Because other than that, it's generally irrelevant in most conversations.
And second off, clearly, as we have seen, everything that he does has deep political motivations. And to argue
Really? What part of the fucking goddamn cryptid iceberg has to do? What is the politics behind the cryptid's iceberg? What is the politics behind the mystery flesh pit? Please explain. Jeez.
argue that he's just a horror YouTuber is comical. Far-right figures are often the only ones who hide their harm under a false shield of wanting to seem like they have no strong beliefs at all, because their real views are so socially abhorrent. And the thing that people kept saying to me in all of this was, why do you even care?
No.
Which
it does. To some extent it does, right? Like when people are discussing sexuality, 9 times out of 10 it's political, right? 9 times out of 10 it's in reference to like some bullshit bill that's being passed. That's like, you know, how Florida tried to pass where basically they were going to make it illegal to like cross-dress. Like it's political. It's always going to be political. You can't like removing the politics from sexuality is fucking impossible. There is always like there's nothing political about kissing a guy on the lips, but like when it comes to the topic of sexuality, it tends to be a political topic. Like it is.
if you watch the comments under the video, I guarantee you will happen again with takes like, "Oh, he's just a YouTuber. Why does it matter?" Or, "So what if he's a conservative?"
I mean, we regularly have our rights threatened in like red states. Like it's pretty political. It's a pretty political topic.
Is that a problem? Which the answer to that is yes. But the reason that
Like
I
some
care
politicians
is
are talking
because
about removing
this
gay
does not
marriage,
belong
like-
in horror or anywhere. I care deeply about horror, and everything that he does
you
has
don't.
demonstrated so far in his career. that he
No, you don't. Because if you genuinely cared about horror, you would not be making this fucking video. Because this video does nothing but to segregate and divide the community, which is something you shouldn't be fucking doing if you actually give a fuck about horror.
should not be welcomed in our spaces, or even, you know,
In
just
our
to-
spaces. I love this entitlement. I love this fucking entitlement these fucking lefties have, where it's just like, oh, this is my community and I dictate who comes in and who goes out. Like, fuck off. People are allowed to enjoy whatever the fuck they fucking want for whatever fucking reason.
in public in general. I think that these things clearly showcase
long as they're
a
not fucking
repeated
hurting
pattern,
anybody,
in
who
my
cares?
opinion, of racism and homophobia. While on top of that, being very irresponsible and dangerous with his large platform.
Of the game.
Like, I think that anyone who supposedly accidentally starts a neo-Nazi hate group and fully acknowledges that they did that should not be accepted within society at all. They should not be celebrated.
The irony. Anyways.
They should be treated for what they are. Because remember, kids, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
What a fucking waste of time. Oh my god. What an awful fucking video. I hope he does get chased off the fucking internet. Fuck this dude. Like I know Wendigoon. I know Wendigoon's out here saying like no, don't spread hate, don't. I'm not saying this on behalf of Wendigoon. I'm saying this on behalf of myself. As I'm saying that someone who this guy literally weaponized multiple of my identities to try and attack this dude. Fuck you. Get chased off the internet. I hate this. I hate this shit. I hate it when people fucking weaponize my identity. Is this guy even gay? Is he even gay? Is he even LGBT? Like, who the fuck is he to like who the fuck is he to speak on behalf of so many different fucking minority groups as a white boy, right? Like, you would think him being a lefty, he would be self-aware of that. But nah, like a true lefty, it's always about speaking on behalf of minorities and not letting them speak for themselves. Fuck this dude, literally.